So go ahead, come to an easy seat or Sukhasana. I have my seat propped up on a little cushion just because it's early in the morning for me. So to come into a nice seat, we want the hip points to be higher than the knees. And we want our pelvis to tilt forward, pubic bone pressing down, low back, draws in and lifts up. And then close your eyes. And tune into your breath. And contemplate for yourself how you're showing up for your practice today. And what are you bringing to your mat? Embrace all feelings, all emotions. And just pat yourself on the back for showing up today. Showing up for your mental and physical health, emotional health. And then let's start to lengthen the inhales. And lengthen the exhale a beat longer than the inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more rounds of breath on your own, smooth and steady. And after your next exhale, fold your palms together in front of your heart space. Inhale big. Exhale, sigh. And then let your hands rest down on your lap. Let's go ahead and just switch the cross of the legs just to balance ourselves out a little bit. And then we'll take a twist. So twist from your core, take an inhale. And then exhale, take your left hand to your right thigh and your right hand back behind you. So you probably aren't facing the same direction as I, and that's okay. Just look over your right shoulder, but not forcing the twist, just starting to move the spine. Come back through center, big breath in. And then exhale, move to the other side. Good, bring your self back through center. And then you can keep the blanket underneath your seat if you feel that you need it. Or you'll be sitting on your mat. So go ahead, keep the same leg crossed in front. Take your hands next to your hips, lift your hips, and then slide your sits bones back. From here, walk your hands forward and drop your gaze down. And start to feel an opening in the outer hips, glutes. Continue to press your pubic bone down so that you can tilt your pelvis forward. And if it'd be more comfortable for you to bring a blanket or a block underneath your hands, you can do that. And then just let your head hang. And treat your sits bones like lead. And use your breath to deepen the stretch and the opening. A few more rounds of deep, steady breath. And then use your hands to press yourself back up. Switch the cross of your legs. And come right back into the pose. Sits bones, walk back. Pelvis tilts forward. And just let your torso be fluid. So you might move back and forth a little bit. And stay heavy in your seat. Notice what thoughts come up for you as we sit in stillness, not attaching to those thoughts, not following them, but rather noticing them and letting them move on. A few more rounds of breath. Deep inhale. Exhale, sigh. And then press yourself back up. Okay, then from here, we'll just add a little bit of movement. So take your left hand down and your right arm up and over. And then switch. Right hand down, left arm up and over. And then one more each side. Good, and then come back to center. So now we'll take Gomukasana Legs. So take your legs straight out in front of you. And then you'll cross your left foot over your right thigh. And then begin to slide the right knee completely on top of the left. So you'll point the foot, extend the ankle. You can walk the foot away from the thigh if you like, or closer to the outer hip. And then your options here. So if you're already feeling like you're rounding, go ahead, prop your seat up onto a blanket. And maybe you come forward or you stay up here. If you want to add on to this, you'll shift off to the right hip and go ahead and bend the left knee. And then we want to stack the knees from here and find some evenly distributed weight on the sits bones. If you have a big space here, that's okay. You could always pad the space between the knees or just keep it like this or straighten the bottom leg. And then maybe just rest the hands onto the knees or hold the feet. And settle in. So this can feel intense really quick. So use your breath, keep your body calm. Just slow and steady. Rooting down into the sits bones. Close the eyes or soft gaze off the nose. You could press the top knee down if you feel no pain or shooting pain or tingling, but big sensation is okay. So we breathe through that. You can think of this as training for handling big things that come your way, whether it's something at work, in a relationship, whether you're moving through grief. Smooth, steady breath. Deep breath in and sigh. Take your right hand down and lean off to the right side, unhook the left leg, and then let the right come out in front. Take your knees side to side. Okay, now your left leg is long. Start with the right foot crossing over the left thigh. And then see how much you can slide the knee over the other. And you'll play with the foot. Maybe it goes out a little bit or hugs in. Pick up the hips, slide the sits bones back. And then choose to stay here. Or you'll roll off to your left hip. Bend your right knee. And then stack the knees. And then you can help adjust the knees to stack. You can lean forward and bring your sits bones back. You can always tuck a blanket underneath. And then just hands rest on the knees, or you can do some gentle pressure on the top knee down. Pubic bone still presses down so that you have the natural curve coming into the lumbar spine. Slow, steady breath. Try to stick with this, even if you feel like you can't breathe. As long as you don't have pain, it's okay to stay here, and then just take in the inhale. Focus on taking breath in and letting breath exit. And if this doesn't feel like much, you could always take your hands forward. As long as your sits bones stay nice and rooted, let your head drop down. Take a scan of your body. See if you're maybe transferring that tension that you're feeling in your lower body. See if you're maybe holding that in your jaw, or having your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth. Maybe your shoulders are creeping up into the ears, so just see how you can relax the upper body as you continue to ground the sits bones. Breathe into the stretch. Breathe into the resistance. If your hands have walked forward, slowly bring them back up. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. Shift off to the left hip. Take your left leg out long. Uncross the right. Both feet down, knees side to side. Okay, I'm going to show you the next pose from the side. So again, you can always have something under your seat. You'll take the soles of the feet together and then press the balls of the feet together and the heels. Take your hands next to your hips, lift the hips, slide your sits bones back. The closer the feet come to the groin, the deeper the stretch or the opening. And then you can take your hands, wrap them around the feet. And then as long as the sits bones, or you can like walk your groins back and your pubic bone presses down, then you're in really good alignment. And then from here, just let the head drop. You might be up here, that's totally fine. Hips can be up on a blanket. Keep the feet active, pressing together. And then if you want even more of a stretch here, you could take feet up on a blanket, give them a little bit more height, and come down. And of course, if that feels too intense, you just come back to the first version or bring the floor to you. As you continue to open, you could take your hands by your hips, keep walking your groins back. Take a great big inhale and exhale. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Bring the knees together. And you can take the blanket here, back behind you. Okay, go ahead and come to your knees. And let's just move through some cat-cow. Inhale, lift your tail. Exhale, press the earth away. Around your spine, let your head hang. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. 2 more rounds. And then untuck your toes. And we'll come into puppy pose. So hips stacking over the knees, and they stay there. You can keep your toes tucked and then walk your hands forward and melt your heart down. And then you'll bring your chin down or your forehead down. You could also cross your arms. And let your forehead rest. Or if you have if you feel your body has more opening right out the gate, you could take your hands and part of your forearms onto the bolster and then let your head drop. Lift up through your tailbone. Keep your hips stacked over your heels or over your knees. So you'll likely feel an opening in the chest and the shoulders, armpits. Deepen your breath to continue to let your chest open. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly come back up. Untuck your toes. Sit on your shins. And just find stillness for a moment. And then moving on, we'll come to a back bend. So if you want, you could have a bolster underneath the front ribs. And then you could take the forearms down, untuck the toes, keep the legs nice and wide. Press down into the elbows and then shrug the shoulders up toward the ears, and then take the head of the arm bones back. So you're sliding your scapula down your back, and then your gaze, it's kind of forward and down, so you have a nice long back of your neck. Lightly press down into the mat with your pubic bone. And you can always bring a block underneath your head. This is for a little bit of grounding. And if this even feels too much for your back, you would walk your elbows forward a little bit, just reducing the back bend. You can close your eyes or keep your soft gaze off the tip of the nose. So you can continue to stay here, or if you want to deepen this a bit, you can walk your hands forward and come up on the finger pads. Have a little bend in the elbows. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears, melt the heart down. Slide the scapula down your back as you walk your fingers back toward your body, increasing the back bend, or maybe slide them forward a little bit. Legs can still be nice and wide. Gaze forward and down, and then just a few rounds of breath here. One more inhale. And then exhale, release. Good. Slide your hands back underneath the shoulders and press up. Maybe remove the bolster. And then take your knees together. Untuck the toes. Come to embryo. So you'll slide the arms back. Palms face up. Forehead comes down. And let the shoulders relax. And just let yourself melt into the earth. And shoulders heavy, and then breathing into the back body. One more inhale. Exhale, release. And then slowly come on up. Okay, we'll make our way to our backs. So you could have a bolster with you or a block. I'll try a bolster this time. So come on down to your back. You can take this bolster or block underneath your sacrum. And then from here, draw the knees in. And then with your hands wrapped around the shins, take the knees forward a little bit. And then from here, straighten the legs up. And then just let the legs be really heavy. So instead of maybe focusing on them going straight up to the sky, perhaps just let them be super heavy and start to come toward your chest. And you don't have to force it, like I'm showing you momentum here. But I want you to just let the legs become heavy and this natural progression of the legs coming forward based on gravity helping you out here. You can take your legs or your arms out by your sides, palms flip up. You could take them over your head and then just gentle pressure in the back of the head. And then from here, bend the knees, bring the feet down. So if your hips are up on a block or your sacrum, you might adjust that or slide a blanket or bolster. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So it's kind of like an opening for the groin and the hips, and a little bit of a back bend. And you don't have to have this blanket or bolster underneath your sacrum. You can move that entirely. We'll just be here for a few rounds of breath. Let the knees be heavy. If you want support under the knees, you would take a block under each knee or a book. And then from this position, we'll make our way into Shavasana. So you could take the legs long here. What this is going to do is provide a little opening in the front of the hips. Your shoulders are completely rooted down. And then maybe you take an eye pillow or a blanket over you. And just start with deepening your breath. Of course, if you can stay in Shavasana longer, that's great. Find some fingers and find some wiggles in your fingers and toes. Take your head side to side. And then draw one knee in toward your chest, followed by the other. And gently roll to your right or left side. And then start to press yourself up to a seat. Eyes remain closed. Just take a moment to notice how you feel now compared to when we started. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.